Hello, I am your host, Nancy Bos. Welcome to Empower Your Voice podcast. Before we get to our guest, Aaron Ellis, I want to share with you about the Empower Your Voice opportunities. If you or somebody you know wants the freedom to be able to impact others, then this is for you. If you wish you didn't need to have fear about speaking up, then this is for you. If you've got stage fright, then this is for you. And if you believe that a brighter, more beautiful future is possible for you, if you could get past what is holding your voice back, then this is for you. Nearly 100 people have gone through the masterclass, and the feedback has been phenomenal about the surprising discoveries they've made about themselves. They've also shared the transformations that they've been able to make in how they show up after taking a deep dive into the subconscious saboteurs that were keeping them imprisoned in fear. No matter if you feel like you can't speak or sing your truth to a single person, a small group, or from the stage, there is every reason to hope that you can overcome it through this process. If this is you, visit nancybos.me. I'll put a link directly to the correct page in the show notes. You can pop over there right now while you're listening and check out Empower Your Voice. Now, for our guest, Aaron Ellis, a trusted mentor to startups and businesses. 30 plus years of touring, sharing the stage with artists such as Bon Jovi, Rat, Warrant, Slaughter, Ozzy, Scorpions, Daughtry, Fuel, Three Doors Down, Goo Goo Dolls, Sebastian Bach, Bruce Dickinson, and more. With 15 gold and platinum records, 7 top 10 songs, and awards too many to mention, Aaron could easily sail off into the sunset. Instead, his heart for humanity and passion to serve others trumps all. When not being a dadpreneur and working one-on-one assisting the best and brightest of entrepreneurs, you'll find Aaron facilitating extraordinary retreats and workshops for those seeking the highest degrees of health, fulfillment, time, and financial freedom. Aaron's clients are some of the most talented and extreme players on the planet. They don't come to him looking for his degrees or credentials because he doesn't have them. Rather, today, Aaron is uniting people through business, music, events, and retreats. He's building business leaders, businesses, and communities of people who see life as a holistic adventure of inner exploration with unlimited outer possibilities. His goal is that each of us live our passion, realizing that it's not what we do, it's how we show up and flow through what we do. Here's Aaron Ellis. Enjoy. Aaron, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Excited to be here.
I can't wait to get to your message. But first, I'd like people to understand a little bit more about you and where you came from and how you got to this place that you have so much to share. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure, absolutely. So, and it's kind of interesting because it plays into everything that I'm going to talk about manifestation and all that stuff, and how do we attract and how do we live like with peace, ease, and freedom. You could say I came out of the gate living my passions and what I love to do. Okay. So my first life, meaning the first part of my life, I was a professional musician. I still am, right? But you'll ask my mom and she'll tell you I was singing full sentences before I could speak. At 1 year old, before I could articulate a sentence, I could sing a song, right? And a lot of this I'm going to share with you is not about boasting. I want you to realize what you're capable of, right? So then I ended up becoming professional, meaning making money at 11 years old. I ended up having my first record deal at 15 and touring the world and all those fun kind of things, and 15 million albums under my belt. That's not a boast. Again, that's just to say it was just a normal way of being for me, right? I just want to do it, and this is what I'm going to do. Now, did my parents love all that? No, right? Right?
So they weren't pushing you. They weren't the Jacksons or anything.
They weren't. They were not. They were educators and college professors, and it's, the traditional, you need to go to school, get a job, all that kind of stuff. And I dropped out of high school at 16 to, tour. So then, and also the other thing, and again, this isn't a boast, but I've had 4 contracts in an industry where 1% of 1% get 1 contract. I say that because it plays into everything I do now. And people are like, how does he do what he's doing? How is this possible? Right.
Yeah.
It's just because of what I understand about the connection of life. Right. So then moving on to that, there was things I always wanted. Like I always wanted a family. It was tough to do when you're on the road.
Yeah.
And so I stepped out of music to a degree around 2010. And I had gotten in really good shape on the road because one of the other bands was literally towing a gym in a trailer, and the roadies would put everything out in the parking lot of either the venue or the hotel. And I got in really good shape. Cool. So I took a little break trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Also, the music industry had shifted a little bit. So there was a reason for me to take a break in a sense. And I got into health and fitness, and I was achieving high goals there. How do you do that? So I started helping people there. I just love to help, which turned into, can you train me? Which turned into, you should consult gyms and personal trainers, and which turned into me opening my own gyms, right? Which turned into me developing a program that in an industry where the pinnacle is 30% success, my gyms were at about an 82% success rate. Okay. And it was health, it was exercise, nutrition, and mindfulness. And that's a big part of the puzzle, is the mindfulness, right? Whether you want to know why you do the things you do, it's been mindfulness, maybe not awareness around that mindfulness. You've been doing it by default, but if you want to know how to do what I do or what you are capable of, it's going to be mindfulness. And to the biological level of learning from me or somebody else, how to restructure your brain and how to reprogram your subconscious. Guys, it's easy. It really is easy. Or I should say it's simple. It's simple.
Okay. Simple, right? not always easy, but simple. Yeah. Wow.
So then from there, I went into, took a break from, we had kids and, we had the financial freedom, but we definitely didn't have the time freedom. And even though my wife and I had our kids in the gym with us, right, we had a nanny there, and people would come up. We're still 16-hour days, exhausted, and say, oh my God, it's so amazing you have your kids with you. I wish I could do that. Wow. And I would literally say, thank you. And I would sometimes go in my office, which was glassed in, at least from the front, sit under my desk and cry. Aww. Because I was still, guess what Berlin did today? Showing me pictures and videos. Guess what TJ did today?
The nanny was telling you those things.
Same building as us. Yeah. We still were missing out, right? So we stepped out of that industry. We decided we didn't step out of the gyms altogether, but we stepped out of the day-to-day. And I decided I'm going to get to know my kids. So for 6 months, I went to the beach and the park 5 days a week at least, sometimes every day, right? Wow. Just had fun with the kids. And from there, it kind of branched into getting online, and I knew how to build businesses. So I started helping other people build businesses online, which turned into a TV show, a reality show that got cut short because of COVID. Called The Race to 100K, and how to teach someone from $0 to $100,000 in 100 days. I've done it many times, so let's teach others, right? Awesome. So then that turned into me meeting more people in the industry and stuff, and higher level, higher successful people and stuff who I resonated with. That's a good point to make, because we'll come back to it. The very high level of ethics and core values, right? For me, the seeking to serve, the mentality of I want to help people and make money, not I want to make money and help people. There's a big distinction in energy there. Not that any group is wrong or better than the other. I'm not making it that, but there's a different kind of energy when we talk about how things are connected as we get into our talk today. So what I found out was people started saying, well, Aaron, you hit a home run in this industry. You hit a home run in this industry in music or media and entertainment, and in the health and fitness industry. And I started to learn the difference between an expert of and an expert in. And I had a mentor present to me like, Aaron, you're an expert in the music and entertainment industry. You're an expert in the health and fitness industry, but you're an expert of business, and you're an expert of entrepreneurship, meaning any arena I can go into, and the same truths and laws, whether you call them success laws, spiritual laws, natural laws, whatever you want to call them, they're the same. Okay. How they play out is different, but they're all the same. So that turned into me being introduced to a couple other people. Started with a couple NFL football players who were in transition, trying to figure out what they were going to do with their life. Well, I had transitioned and become a very successful serial entrepreneur, as I call myself, a dadpreneur, right? Because kids are first, families first. So I started working with these guys and helped them realize some of the things that you and I are going to talk about today, that it's not what we do, it's how we show up and flow through it. So in other words, a lot of times when somebody's reached a very high level of success, or they've done something for a long time. So this goes into military personnel. This goes into empty nest syndrome, if you've heard that before. Yeah. People don't know how to transition because they've been conditioned to believe that they are what they think and they are what they do.
What they've done. They are what they've done. Mm-hmm.
So with like these couple football players I was working with, the first two of them, They thought that football made them successful.
Right.
No, it didn't. You made yourself successful in football.
In
and
that
everything
industry.
that you did to do that, you still have the discipline, the drive, the focus at a higher level than the majority of the world.
Yeah.
And when you realize that you are your power, you are your success, not what you did, all you do is pivot all that to whatever else you want to do.
You do make it sound simple and easy. So what I'm hearing is that nothing has really blocked you from doing what you want. And
Right.
so I'm just wondering what blocks most people from stepping into their full power.
Many people have heard some degree of, I'm going to paraphrase, that with manifestation, you just simply need to connect to the energy. You need to resonate with the same energy. So kind of like a radio station. If you tune the radio station, you're going to get a certain style of music. If you're off a little bit, it's going to be staticky. It's not going to be clear. If you wanted country and you just randomly go and it's rock and roll, then it's not country. You follow what I mean? You got to tune to the same frequency. So another way to explain this is like, who has been thinking about a friend and all of a sudden they call?
Yeah, it happens so often.
Right? So what I'm getting at is everything is connected, right? So what blocks us is simply our disbelief. Okay. And now that's the basis of it, because what we do, even if it's manifestation, is always based on how we think, which is always based on how we feel, which is based on our belief structures. It dictates it. It makes the decisions for us. So even if we're consciously trying to manifest or using affirmations, if it doesn't match the belief that's been stored in our subconscious brain, I'm going to go scientific here with it, then you will only manifest what's in the subconscious brain, not what you're trying to do consciously. Now you can, once you become aware of what I'm talking about, just the way the brain is programmed, the subconscious brain is programmed, it's just as easy to reprogram it. Right? So ultimately what blocks people is they're not resonating at the same energy of what they want. Okay. Now, How does that look? It is that simple. They just need to tune themselves, right? So how does that look? Why is it difficult? What are the beliefs that keep people from the amazing beauty and miracles, which are everywhere, by the way, at all times? They're not random. They're everywhere, right? What is it? It's our beliefs. Okay, so most people go through life, and let's get a little bit scientific here, right? We have our neocortex, that's the front of our brain, which is where language is, okay? The only place there is language, by the way. Then that goes to, I'm going to get simplified here, connecting to the limbic brain, right? Which is where feeling and emotion are. Two different things, I'll explain that, which connects to the heart. So going through life from the outside in, from the limbic brain, we are judging everything with words, programming, right? As good, bad, right, or wrong. I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want that. Okay. With that, if we like something, limbic brain, positive feeling, we open to life. If we don't like something, limbic brain, negative feeling, we close to life.
Right.
Right. But the thing is, the reason we don't like it is because of misunderstanding in the belief structure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you realize, let's just give a simple belief for people, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Simple one for them. Life is always happening for you. It's never happening to you. Okay. So if life is always happening for you, you could never be a victim to it. It's never something that you need to struggle against. It's always happening for me. So we start to open up and see why it's happening for us. Usually we think life is happening to us. So in the negative things, the bad things, we close up, we don't want it, right? So we don't unwrap the gift, meaning we misunderstood the actual experience. And what happens? We have to play it out again to learn the lesson. We have to have the gift presented to us again by God, universe, whatever you want to call it, so we can unwrap it. Okay?
Yeah.
So if life is happening for us, it negates all of that. It takes it all away. It turns the light on, the darkness is gone. If this is happening for me, why would I not like it? Why would I think it was bad? Because of the belief structures that dictate how we feel about things. And when I say feel, meaning it affects our central nervous system and the visceral aspects of our body, which dictates how we think, which dictates our actions. So when something happens, we react negatively. Doesn't feel good. Of course it doesn't feel good in the body because it's been programmed in the central nervous system to be bad and wrong and release the fight or flight.
Okay.
It's funny. Okay, go ahead.
You've just said 30 hours of course content in the last 5 minutes. So I gotta step back and apply some stories to this so that I can relate to this a little better. The things that popped into my mind while you were talking were the Lutheran religion that I was raised in, the Christian Reformed religion that my father was raised in, my Danish ancestors' belief that hard work is why God put you here, and the belief that we are not here to serve ourselves, that we are here to serve God. This is all coming from the church. And so for me, I'm just talking about me. I'm sure everybody who's listening has a different aha moment right now. But for me, the idea that we are not here to serve ourselves, we're here to serve God, puts that subconscious message in my brain that how could life be for me? Life is for God, and I'm just supposed to do whatever happens, whatever comes to me is what God intended to have come to me. And it's a very passive way of walking through life. So can you help me with this balance a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I don't make anything wrong, whether it's a religious belief or a cultural belief or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. It's all the same thing, the way I look at it, because I look at it energetically and prior to the definitions around it. Okay.
Right. Cool.
So when it comes to religion, let's play with that one for a little bit, right? Most people would believe that, understand, even if they have a religious strong background, that everything is connected.
Right.
They'll believe that. And they'll believe that, let's see. So let's just go with the connected thing, right? And now I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of that we are God. I'm not saying that to the religious people, right? But you could say that we are expressions of God, right?
We are made in God's image. That's a common phrase. Yes.
Right. And you could say that it's like the ocean, we're all drops of the same ocean.
Beautiful.
Can we wrap our heads around that one? Right.
Yeah.
But if you look at it scientifically, saying we're a drop of the same ocean, science will tell you that the entire ocean is in every drop. Meaning the makeup of that drop of the ocean is consistent across the whole ocean.
Right.
So even though we're part of the whole ocean, if you take out part of the ocean, it has the same makeup as the entire ocean. There's no difference.
Awesome. So
they'll tell you that, the entire ocean is in one drop. So let's take this to the prodigal son or prodigal daughter or prodigal, whatever it wants, however it plays out in the world today. No big deal. The prodigal, right?
Okay.
The lesson there is that you're not disconnected from God, even though you feel like you're disconnected from God. Fantastic. God's just waiting for you to remember and come back with open arms. So he knows that you're connected to him. But now this is where it can be however we want to take it. We don't want to put it this way, or we don't want to. That's not about it. Right. There is a lot of history where you can see that things were skewed to one degree or another to make people feel like they were disconnected and that you had to connect to me to connect to God. I'm the conduit. Now you have to come to me. Right?
Powerlessness. Yes. Powerlessness.
So that has been trickled down to where people feel separate from God.
But
if you really go into the Bible, like I studied every religion. So you can, I've sat with people in the Bible and we'll come up with verses, right? And I'm like, this is what this actually means. Because I went all the way back to the Aramaic and like, oh, right. But it's not even a crazy difference. It's just the way it was spun,
Yes. Beautiful.
I'm separate from God.
Yeah. And so if this Christianity is causing limiting beliefs that's holding you back, you might want to take a look at the source of those beliefs in the Christianity, like you've done, and figure out what the real intention was between what might be a divine message.
And touching back to the point I was making about good, bad, and right and wrong, there's nothing wrong about Christianity. So if you go through this process and you find that some of the things are different than you were taught, it doesn't make what you were taught wrong or bad.
Right. You don't throw it all out.
And it served you for a while and helped you. And what does that warrant? Gratitude. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Do you have any stories of how you've witnessed people overcome their limiting beliefs by reframing or whatever we're talking about here?
How extreme you want me to go?
Oh, just go there.
Okay. So let's talk about a lady who was raped and tortured for 3 days. Okay.
Wow. Sure.
So this was in New York City.
Wow.
And it was on a bus, and basically some terrorists took over the bus. Everybody else got off. She was stuck with these two terrorists for 3 days, raped, abused, all that kind of stuff. Now, mind you, it's 20 years later when I'm talking about this.
Okay.
And what I said was, now part of this is, you could say metaphysical and physical, but I do reference back to science on everything, because why not, So we're talking, let me tell you how I did this. And this is where I said, how extreme you want me to go, how down the rabbit hole you want to go, we're going down. Okay.
Okay. We're going.
So talking to this lady, right? I said, okay, so tell me your story. She's like, 20 years. My whole life is, I can't have relationships. I can't have this, blah, blah, blah. Right. So tell me your story. Okay. So got on the bus and she's giving the details, and then it was taken over by these two terrorists, and then this and this and this. And then 3 days later, we got off. I finally got off. Right. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. 2 terrorists got on the bus and 3 got off. No. Tell me again. Maybe I missed something. Okay. Goes through it again, all this kind of stuff, tells me all the details again. I'm like, so let me see here for a second. So what you're saying in summary, 2 terrorists got on the bus and 3 got off. No. And she's getting angry and angry and angry. Okay. Tell me again. I am listening. I promise I'm a good listener. I have great attention to detail. For some reason, I'm missing something here. Right. Calm her down. Right. It gets to the point where I couldn't calm her down anymore. Like, she was so upset. So what did I say? Do you pee in the shower? What? Do you pee in the shower? And when you do you like stand over the drain? What would pee in the shower? A whole audience 300 people watching me do this, right? Like
an audience. Oh my gosh.
Does it run down your leg, or does it kind of go straight down? Because I'm a guy. It doesn't run down my leg, like stuff like that, right? Finally, she's like, yeah, I pee in the shower. What does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Just random thought. What I did was I interrupted her pattern.
Big time.
Bring her back and open her back up, right? Now,
Yes.
Granted, I had people like, did you have to go with the pee in the shower thing there? I don't know whatever came to me. Manifestation. Just pulled, it was presented. So I finally got to the point where I told her, why do you keep saying that? I'm like, well, 2 terrorists got on, but 3 got off. You're the 3rd. You've been terrorizing yourself for 20 years. Mm-hmm. They're gone. That's past. Mm-hmm. Yes, it created issues in your central nervous system and the visceral aspects of your body. It's stored in your cells. But you just have an opening now to where we can actually remove that. So long story short, if you talk to this lady or other people I work with in similar traumatic things, they now understand that life's happened for them, and they would never change the experience. They would never change it. They see that it was a gift, and now they go and empower other people with similar trauma. Happens a lot with women. I've worked with a lot of women that have been raped, right? And they get to the point where they truly are in a state of forgiveness, and they're like, literally, some of them don't say this, but I've had some like, if I needed to get raped again to be able to do what I'm doing and empower what I'm doing, I'd do it.
Whoa, wow.
That's when you fully flip that life is happening for you. And back to manifestation, and what blocks people is they're blocked because they separate. But life is about connection. So if you're going to continue going through life separating it, judging it, good, bad, right, or wrong. Now, granted, subjectively, we could talk about good, bad, right, or wrong. But as a whole, objectively, there is no good, bad, right, or wrong. And the way people start to understand that is how many people have had something that was horrible that happened in their life. And then whether it be a week, a year, 10 years later, they've healed and they're like, you know what? I'm glad that happened. I see why it had to happen. Hindsight is 2020. I say, and in my world, the people I've worked with, what if present sight could be 2020? What if you could unwrap that gift right then? What if you could be so present, you remove so many of those thoughts that created your actions because they were based on how you felt, that were based on beliefs, and you shifted the belief system, meaning you shift the program in the subconscious mind to now life is happening for me. That's just one example, right? And so every time something happens, you've said it enough now so where life is happening for me. So no matter how negative it is, you no longer have the central nervous system say this is bad and make your body want to close up. You're curious rather than condemning.
So what does this work look like, Aaron? I mean, you opened this woman to this story, and I'm always opening people to their performance anxiety issues. When you work with somebody, I don't want you to give away the secrets, and I don't want people DIYing this, but what's the process look like?
Well, they can have it all. Like, if people can learn to do what I do and go out and do it, please, go for it. Right.
Awesome.
I have been going through life knowing things, understanding things, this connection. But my struggle in life was, how do I help other people understand it? How do I explain it to them? Okay. right? So this started out with like in my childhood. And I'm telling you this because this is the process. The process is unique to, let me start with that, unique to everyone. Now, do I have touch points for it? Do I have metrics that I look at? Yes. But the flow of it, I have guidelines, but we do this upside down, round, whatever it needs to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a very literal brain. I was diagnosed autistic. So my brain is super literal, right? I wasn't told that when I was younger. It wasn't brought up to me. My mom was a developmental psychologist, right? So the way it played out is I constantly was trying to explain myself to people. And so you could say I came from this end of the spectrum. I said spectrum. I didn't mean to pun intended. I guess pun intended with autism. Spectrum, right? And now I've had to learn from this side of the coin, you could say, where everybody gets it from their level. I didn't. So how do I get it their way so I can share it more with them? Now, what I found is that most people, I'm literal. Most people are not. Most people use words in a way that there's actually no sub-definition in the dictionary for the way they're using it, right? Uh-huh. So the brain is created around these structures, right?
In context, yeah.
Right. So I work it through to where I figure out what are their structures, right? And in the reactive subconscious brain, which is where all that pain and frustration and stress and all that stuff lives, not the responsive, I can go into that if you need, that's where we struggle. That's where we also have what I would call a false identity. Meaning we believe if something is good, bad, right, or wrong, then we are good, bad, right, or wrong. Okay. So depending on how we perform in this area, if we don't do it the way we think is right and good, we're crushed and it feels bad. Okay. And in turn creates a visceral feeling in our body. Makes
definition of failure right there, right? Yeah.
So the process I go through is very loose, I guess you could say, but there is a structure to it. And the reason I think that's funny is because one of the main people who helped me structure things, because I can see everything and I'm like, which place do I start? Every bit of this matters, you know what I mean? Yeah. Was Wayne Dyer. Cool. So I worked with him for years. I met him in about, I think 2005, 06. I always can't remember the exact date because I don't remember that stuff, right? But he's like, Aaron, you need a methodology. You need this kind of stuff to really be able to help people understand what you know. And I was like, Wayne, 7 steps to this. You know, there's more than 7 steps. It's lying. It's dishonest. I'm like, no, it's an entryway. It's a doorway. It's a way to meet people where they're at. Like,
it's a manageable quantity. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, oh, so he's like, you need this. I'm like, I can't come up with that kind of stuff, Wayne. It doesn't make any sense. Right. So he said, Aaron, I want you to just start sharing with me like we've been sharing. Talk to me. Okay. So this is the same thing I do with other people. I'm not saying we come up with acronyms like I'm going to share with you, but we come up with how do they think, how do they speak, right? So therefore, I can know what's going on in the subconscious mind, the program, not just the results of the program and the symptoms they're going through. Let's figure out the belief. Yes. How does the belief play out at the finest level? So Wayne's like, start talking. So we're talking about parents and we're talking about families and kids. And like, I would say, just treat those areas of your subconscious mind, the reactive ones, are like kids. You stunted your growth. Out of fear, you stunted the growth. So you need to treat that like a child if you want to change it. So with a child, you walk up to a child and help them learn how to walk. And as soon as they trip, you're like, you're stupid. You're wrong. You're never going to be able to figure this out. Why am I even spending the time on this? No, you don't do that. The kid, no, right? Okay, so stop. Take a look right now. Unconditionally. With grace and gratitude, love and encouragement. Let's do that. Then Wayne's like, wait, what'd you just say? He's writing down like, I don't know. What did I just say? You know what I mean? He's like, do it again. He had to bring me back into it, right? I go, okay, so stop what you're doing. Take a look. What's going on right now? Presence, you know what I mean? Unconditionally, because there's so many conditions around it, right? Right? With grace, or I might have said gratitude, grace, love, and encouragement. Okay. And he's like, say it again.
Oh gosh, you got your
say
mantra.
It again. I said it again. And so he said, then he pushes the paper in front of me and he shows me what I said. And I can do this on the fly now. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's like, read this. I'm like, okay, I read back what I said. I see what I read. And he's like, notice what I've enunciated. I'm like, what do you mean? Okay, you got capital letters. The capital letters shouldn't be in the beginning of the sentence. It's here. He capitalized so and stop, S. Right now, he capitalized R. Unconditionally, he capitalized U. Gratitude, he capitalized G. Grace, he capitalized G. L, he capitalized love. Encouragement, he capitalized E. And he said, Aaron, that spells struggle.
Oh my gosh.
Gives me chills. I might cry when I say this. Because he helped me, because my biggest bridge, my biggest struggle in life was things. How do I know? I know these things, but how do I teach others this? How do I help them understand? So you got to have a methodology. Wayne, 7 things? You know, there's more than 7 things. You know what I mean? So he helped me do this. He connected a part of my brain that I didn't really know how to use. And he's like, say it again. I'm like, say it again. And he's like, turns around. It spelled the word struggle. Stop, S. Right now, R. Right? Unconditionally, U. Grace, G. Gratitude, G. Love, L. E. Encouragement. That's what we do with a child. We stop. Right now, we don't want them to get hurt. We're unconditionally loving them. We give them grace. We're thankful that they're learning this. We love them and we encourage them. That's what we need to do with ourselves.
Fantastic.
So whenever we struggle, we need to do that.
Fantastic.
So I do that with people, right? And I also do it like people that let me give you another example what came out of this. Like I started being open to putting these into my world now, right? Right. I'm still all over the place. Like I'm the most out of the box person in the world that like, there's not even a box. What are you talking about? A box? So I started doing this myself. And, we've all heard the acronyms like I think it's like for fear, like fear everything and run, or false evidence appearing real, right? Or face everything and rise. That might be a more positive one. Mm-hmm. What I know, if people want to know really how to shift quickly, we usually want to avoid what doesn't feel good, right?
Right.
But what I know is that the more energy on the surface that some circumstance, person, place, or thing has triggered in you, that usually you want to run away from and avoid, the more energy on the surface that makes you want to avoid, makes you want to run, that you think it's so wrong, that paralyzes you, the more energy on the surface is ready to be released and transmuted. Meaning on the other side of that fear is even more freedom than you could ever imagine. Okay. So the harder it looks, the more painful it is, the more freedom you're going to have on the other side of that fear. Remember, feel the fear and feel the fear and do it anyway. So my acronym for that is, and again, remember, no matter what it looks like, especially if it's horrible, my acronym is fully empowered and ready.
Nice.
As soon as you feel fear, you're fully empowered and ready. But Aaron, it's really fearful. Then you're even more fully empowered and ready.
Yeah.
Right. So in a sense, that's what I do. I get to know people. Yes, I have structures I can walk them through that trigger these things from my experience. And I've worked with thousands of people doing this over 20 something years, right? So I have the collective consciousness and I've constantly refined based on those, and Wayne Dyer helping me to define stuff where I couldn't define it before.
Beautiful.
So now I can put it into anybody's words and they can come to me from any background, anything, and I can navigate it. I can use because remember, there's nothing new out there. It's just about arranging what's already there, like ordering off a menu. So one last example on the reactive and responsive subconscious. Your responsive subconscious is those things in your life you learned how to do that there's no false identity around or emotion. So what does that mean? You know how to brush your hair. You know how to take a shower, right? You know how to look both ways and cross the street. You don't think about it anymore. It just happens. Life happens, triggers the program runs. Then we have our reactive subconscious. This is where the emotion is, where we don't want to do it, where we think we're wrong, right? Where there's a false identity that I'm good or bad based on this. So if you were to go into a restaurant and order off a menu from the reactive subconscious, now everybody knows how to order off a menu from the responsive. They know how to do it. They went into the restaurant to get a menu in reactive. This is what they would do. And this is why I say you can order off the menu of life, if you understand what I'm saying. They would go in and say, you and I might sit down like, liver? There's liver on this menu? Mushrooms? I hate mushrooms. What kind of place did you bring me to, Nancy? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I love club sandwiches, but this one is fried and rolled in powdered sugar. Are they who would make this menu? These people, there's something wrong with these people. We need to leave this restaurant. I can't be here. Maybe after all that, I could get to what I want and order it. But what do? There's always many things on a menu that we don't want or don't like. But do we even know they're there or need to take the time to recognize them? No, we look for what we want and we order it. And you can do the same thing with life. But you've been programmed reactive to where you have to bump into everything and run into everything and make it wrong and say it was in your way and how dare they and everything in life before you can actually have what you want. But if you can ask for what you want from the universe without the backdrop of what you don't want, you'll have it.
Oh, that's huge. So Aaron, this is just mind blowing. There's so much here. You've got so much gold for people. And I'm so glad that you figured out how you can share it. How can people get more Aaron Ellis in their life?
So everywhere, my website and all social media, it's Aaron Ellis Official. It's the easiest way to find me.
Sounds good. And do you offer opportunities for people to learn directly from you, materials that they can get a hold of?
I do. Well, the first half of that sentence, yes, I do. Do I have materials they can get a hold of? Yes, if it comes from me. But I don't do this as a blanket thing in that way. Right. Meaning, work on me 101. It's very, very specific, and I only work with a couple clients at a time. Right.
Got it. Yep.
So there's nothing there that there will be. I'm working on some books and stuff that will be out in the next year and all that stuff. I have music that they can listen to. And oddly enough, my lyrics are exactly like what you just heard me talking about.
Oh, so good. Yes. Start reading Aaron Ellis lyrics.
Yeah. You can listen to the songs and feel everything you felt while you were on this podcast with me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for being here, Aaron. This has been amazing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Fascinating, right? I don't think there is anything I could add except to say that if you're ready to be free to express yourself, to impact others with your message, to flow through life, then I'm ready to help you eliminate what's holding you back through working with the Empower Your Voice process. Click on the link in the show notes, and while you're there, you'll find a link to Aaron's website, aaronellisofficial.com. And one last thing. In a few more episodes, Season 6 of Empower Your Voice podcast will be coming to a close, and I want to know what you want to hear. Which experts do you want to hear from? Or what topics do you want me to cover? Please let me know. On YouTube, you can put it in the comments, or in social media, you can find me at Nancy E. Bos. That's B-O-S with one S. Remember, you are awesome. And you've been given everything you need to live out your purpose in this life. You've got this. Bye-bye for now.